off an action-packed LSU weekend, let's bring in CC's starting five. Coach Kim Mulkey's Tigers had a dominating 99-68 win against Arkansas on Sunday. Matt McMahon's basketball team faced Texas A&M for the second time this season and lost 73-69. The gymnastics program had an historic night inside a packed PMAC, and the track team had a great start to its season. I'll be ending this episode by talking about all the hires Coach Brian Kelly's making while not making any announcements regarding the offensive coordinator spot or the tight ends coach. This is Camryn Conner, your host with Tiger Rag Audibles podcast, and I'll be jumping right into my starting five after a word from one of our sponsors.
The East Baton Rouge Library says this is the year to invest in you. The library brings value by connecting you to information, resources, materials, technology, and experiences. We make a positive difference in your life. All you need is your library card. Stop by one of our 14 locations, open 7 days a week, or find us online at ebrpl.com.
Starting off with number one, Coach Kim Mulkey's LSU Lady Tigers clearly weren't looking ahead to Thursday night's huge showdown against South Carolina as they dominated the Hogs 99-68. All five starters on this team scored at least 13 points, with Michaela Williams scoring 21 points and Haley Van Lith adding 20 points. For the second game in a row, LSU's defense was strong. It was the second consecutive game LSU held its opponent under 70 points and under 30% shooting from the field, all adding up to a highly anticipated game when the Tigers take on the number one ranked Gamecocks this Thursday night at 7 p.m. With the seventh largest crowd in program history, with 12,873 fans inside, LSU put together something magical. Freshman Michaela Williams had her best game in conference play, scoring 15 of her 21 points in the first half to go with a team-high 3 three-pointers and 9 rebounds and 3 assists. Point guard Haley Van Lith also turned in her best effort in league play with 20 points, including a pair of threes, 5 rebounds, and matched last year POA with team-best 6 assists. First-team All-American forward Angel Reese produced her 11th double-double of the season with 16 points and 17 rebounds, and Reese continues to lead the nation in rebounding. Anissa Morrow added 14 points and 8 rebounds. Flau'jae Johnson added 13 points and 4 rebounds. The trio of Williams, Van Lith, and Morrow is insane. They each scored 6 points apiece to help expand LSU's lead to 80-50 heading to the fourth quarter. 6 consecutive points from Van Lith, a traditional 3-point playoff of inbounds play, coupled with a 3-pointer that made it 68-41 at the 5-minute mark. Williams, who hadn't scored in the second half, knocked down a consecutive jump shots in the last 2 minutes, and POA's 2 free throws finished 8-0 run to the quarter. Freshman Janae Kent gave LSU its second 34-point lead at 95-61 with the layup with 4 minutes and 15 seconds to play. The Tigers reached more than 90 points for the 10th time this season, shooting 48.6% overall and 40% from three-point range. They scorched a Razorbacks defense that allowed 62.8 points per game for the most points since South Carolina scored 104 points in 2021. LSU was also dominant on the glass with a 60-33 showing. These ladies will be back on the court this Thursday against an unbeaten and ranked number 1 South Carolina at 7 p.m. inside the PMAC. If you aren't able to make it inside the PMAC, you can catch the game on ESPN. Number 2 of my starting five, after beating Texas A&M 68-53 just 2 weeks ago, the Aggies got their revenge when they came down to Baton Rouge and beat LSU 73-69 on Saturday. The nation's number 1 offensive rebounding team, Texas A&M, did what they're best at and rebounded to beat LSU. LSU also outshot Texas A&M overall percentage-wise, hit 2 more three-pointers than the Aggies, and was more efficient at the free throw line in a game that was extremely physical but had relatively few fouls called, all things considered. But where it mattered most, Texas A&M out-rebounded LSU 43-30 overall, and it was on the offensive glass where the Aggies literally wiped out the Tigers.
I think like you respond to every game. You know, obviously we're disappointed in the loss. Don't think it was from a lack of effort or a lack of togetherness. I thought we competed at a high level. We just didn't get the job done on the glass, and they made the play. When it became a 3-minute game, they made the plays to get the win. So, you know, I think if you're about winning and you're about building a team, you learn from it, and you come back in on Monday and get better and prepare for the next opportunity, which for us is Wednesday at Georgia.
Jordan Wright put up his second double-double this season for LSU, finishing with 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists to lead the Tigers. Wright scored 10 points in the first half as LSU led 35-33 at the half. Wright scored 8 points in the first 9 minutes of the game and had 5 of LSU's first 9 points of the game. Jalen Cook added 12 points, while freshman Mike Williams III made 3 3-pointers and scored 11. Jalen Reed and Tyrell Ward each had 10 points apiece. After a back-and-forth game, there was seemingly light at the end of the tunnel when LSU tied the game 67-67 with only 4 minutes and 9 seconds left in the game. However, Texas A&M's Wade Taylor IV, who's the leading scorer in the SEC, responded by scoring another 3-pointer with 2 minutes and 56 seconds left to play. Cook missed 2 3-pointers on the next possession, and Solomon Washington made the first of 2 foul shots with 4 seconds to go to make it a 2-possession game, 73-69. The Tigers will be back this Wednesday, January 24th, against Georgia in Athens at 5:30 p.m., and you can catch the game on the SEC Network. At number 3 of my starting 5, the number 8 ranked LSU Gymnastics team had their first SEC competition inside a packed PMAC against the number 6 ranked Kentucky. The Lady Tigers scored 198.125 against the Wildcats, marking the highest score made by any team in the country so far this season. In head coach Jay Clark's 50th win since being at LSU, these Tigers competed hard and almost flawlessly throughout the meet. The Tigers started the meet on vault, earning a season-high 49.525 in the first rotation, and then went into bars where the magic didn't ever seem to stop for these ladies. And while they all mostly scored high on bars, I want to just talk about Haley Bryant for a second. Bryant, the all-time 10 leader in school history, added another perfect score to her resume. This 10 marks Bryant's second on bars and 11th in her career. The Tigers closed the second rotation with the 49.450 on bars and had the lead over the Wildcats at the halfway point, 98.975 to 98.850. Next up for the squad was beam, and if you've been watching this season, you know the beam is where LSU has continuously struggled all season. But, like I said, there was something in the air this Friday night. LSU had a season-high 49.425 performance on the beam and was 148.4 to 148.325 lead heading into the fourth and final rotation inside the PMAC. To finish off the night, the Tigers took the floor, and in Tiger style, they showed out in this rotation as well. This rotation was highlighted by another perfect 10 for the night, this time from Kaya Johnson. This was Johnson's 5th career perfect score on the event and 8th overall. Bryant finished the night with a 39.825, securing the all-around title as well as the wins on vault and bars. Her 3 titles on the night moved her total to 65, with 25 on vault, 9 on bars, and 21 all around. Johnson had a season-high performance against the Wildcats, taking home the win on floor and finishing the night with an all-around score of 39.650. Her floor title moved her career total to 16 on the event and 42 overall. A historic night for LSU Gymnastics happened right in front of our eyes in Baton Rouge with an almost entirely packed PMAC while they beat their first SEC team of the season. The climb continues this Friday, January 26th in Missouri against the Tigers at 7:30 p.m. You can catch this meet on the SEC Network. Coming in at number 4, LSU's Michaela Rose produced a college record and nation's number 2 time in winning the 600-yard race to highlight her team's efforts Saturday in the Corky Classic at Texas Tech. Rose set the collegiate record with a time of 1:16.76 in the first heat of the day, eclipsing the 42-year-old record of Tennessee's Delisa Walton. Rose, the holder of two of the top 3 600-yard times in collegiate history, set the event's mark in last year's meet at the Texas Tech Sports Performance Center. LSU's Aaliyah Armstrong, a New Orleans native who ran in 4 events, turned in a nation's best time of 7.9 seconds to win the 60-meter hurdle final, finishing ahead of LSU's Leah Phillips, who was 3rd. Zachary native Sean Burrell turned in a national top 10 time in the 600-yard race with a runners-up performance 108.23 to rank 7th in collegiate history. Long jumper Morgan Smalls put together another successful showing with the distance of 20 feet 7 1/4 inches on her final attempt to win the event. And on Friday's first day of competition, Luke Witt moved to number 5 in school history with a PR of 72 feet 3/4 inches in winning the weight throw. LSU returns to action this weekend, January 26th and 27th, at the Razorback Invitational in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And finally, although Coach Brian Kelly is making strides towards filling up this coaching staff to be elite, he has still yet to name his offensive coordinator and tight ends coach. Along with new defensive coordinator Blake Baker, a defensive line coach, Bo Davis, defensive ends coach, Kevin Peoples, Coach Kelly has added in more puzzle pieces into this team. Defensive backs coach Corey Raymond will be joining LSU, as well as Jake Olson, who will be the safeties coach. Raymond is a former LSU defensive back from New Iberia, and after 2 years away, Raymond has decided to come back home and coach for the Tigers again. Raymond spent 13 years coaching at LSU from 2006 to 2008 as an intern and assistant strength and conditioning coach, followed by 10 years of coaching at the secondary and cornerbacks from 2012 to 2021. During his time at LSU, Raymond built up the team as the Tigers secondary was consistently one of the strengths of the team during his time of coaching that specific group, enhancing LSU's claim of being DBU. Both Peoples and Olson assisted Baker with the Missouri defense that helped the Missouri Tigers with their most wins in nearly a decade, defeating Ohio State 14-3 in the Cotton Bowl this past season. This Missouri team became the first defensive unit since 2016 to hold the Buckeyes without a touchdown.
It's your time to move things forward. U.S. Army Reserve.
All right, that's it for today's episode. For more LSU sports information, check out tigerrag.com, and I'll be back later this week with more news regarding LSU sports.